How is it going? Thank you for tuning in this video. As you all can tell by the title below, today I'll be giving you my live review of attending WWE Saturday night's main event, John Cena's final match. Yes, I was able to go to Washington, D.C. this past weekend and see John Cena wrestle his final ever match at Saturday night's main event. And without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and dive right into things, discussing right from when this trip was planned. I remember it was a week after SummerSlam. I saw a post about Survivor Series being John Cena's final PLE ever, and I thought to myself, you know what, I might try to attend Survivor Series this year because it's the final, Big Four event that I need to attend live, and is, going to be John Cena's final pay-per-view essentially. So I was like, you know what? I might make the trip down there because it was in San Diego, Southern California. I'm in Northern California. I was considering making the trip. And I kid you not, the day after I was considering that, I get a message from my good friend Luke Cage, 29. He says, what would you think about going to John Cena's final match? I said, you're nuts, man. I was literally just thinking about going to his final PLE, and now here you are bringing up his final match. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And we started planning things. So we knew at the time the rumor date was, December 13th. But at the time, we thought it was going to be Boston. So we actually planned a trip around Boston, thinking that's what it was going to be. And then, of course, as the weeks went, obviously, the news came out that it was not going to be in Boston because they announced a Raw for Boston instead, and that a new location was going to be made. And at that point, honestly, I thought our chances were done because I thought, you know what, since we already planned in Boston, I thought we were just going to cancel it and not worry about it. But once we found out it was going to be in Washington, D.C., or at the time it was rumored in Washington, Luke was like, you know what, hey, there's a bunch of great places to visit there. Let's still do it. I was like, you know what, I'm all in. So about another month goes before it was officially announced for DC. And then once it was, we got the ball rolling, we got everything planned. And tickets went on sale. We were able to nag them when they went on sale. And we got very lucky getting tickets. I know the queue was like, 60,000 people at the time, maybe even more. People weren't queued up to get tickets. But thankfully, we were able to get in very, very quickly and very easily when we were looking for the tickets. So it was very stressful, but it was very rewarding, looking back at it. And just us hyping ourselves up going into it was worth it as well. Him and I have not hung out since WrestleMania 33 in Orlando. That's coming up almost 9 years ago, since we're going to 2026. That was April 2027. So yeah, 8 years since we've been able to hang out, and it was just like we never missed a beat, man. It was just like that. We caught up and we were just gliding like, we were 10 years ago on Skype calls. So it was very great to be able to hang out with Luke this entire weekend. He was the genius and mastermind behind all of it. So everything for this trip essentially goes to him. So I got to credit him fully. He's the one I cannot appreciate and thank him enough, for coming up with this idea and, having all this come to fruition. So yeah, very, very thankful for him. And that was pretty much the process going into it. And then, once everything was finally settled in, we got our tickets and everything. It was pretty much the waiting game. And then up came December 12th, because that was the day I flew into Washington, D.C. My flight from here to Chicago, because I went there to have a layover before DC. Had to be there. Well, my flight left at 5:55 a.m., so I was probably at the airport between 4:30 and 5 to get there. So I had to get up very, very early. I had a 4-hour flight to Chicago, which at that point I had to sit there and wait a little bit for Luke because I was meeting up with him. We were taking the same flight from Chicago to Washington, D.C. So from there on, that's, that was a short flight from Chicago to DC. I think it was only like an hour and 45 minutes. So my entire travel day was like 8.5 hours. Yeah, it was very long. But by the time we got into DC, it was like, all right, I think around 5:30 or 6. I don't remember the exact time, but between that time period was the exact time we actually flew into DC. And considering the fact that, I'm on the West Coast and going into the East Coast, I will say this, the time change completely messed me up that entire weekend. I will say that. I did not go to sleep on Friday until 4 a.m. And that's because I forced myself. I wasn't tired, I went to bed. I forced myself to go to sleep that night still. So yeah, we traveled to DC. We got there. We were able to settle into our hotel. And then we went into town where we actually got food first because we were hungry, obviously. We got some Five Guys, which you can never go wrong with that. That's an excellent place. I mean, the prices are pretty outrageous, but the food's always good. Got an excellent patty melt burger, which is fantastic. Love their patty melt burgers. I mean, all their food's great in general, but just that was excellent that night, especially with the Cajun fries. I was feasting for sure. But yeah, we ate and then we went into Washington because I wanted to go to the last time is now Superstore. I wanted to go there because I knew if we went on Saturday, it would just be absolutely packed with everyone being there, that day for sure. And everyone probably wanted to go to the Superstore and rate it anyway. So my idea was to go to the Superstore that night. That way we avoided all the lines and everything. And I'm glad we did because we went there like around, we went there not late, but not like early. We went there probably around like 8:30, 9 o'clock, maybe even later than that. That's by the time we went to the Superstore, because they closed at 11 that night. So we made sure to go there, and we were able to go right in. And to be perfectly honest, Superstore itself, well, nothing special. I mean, it was a good store. It was more of a pop-up store, I'll say that. It wasn't, you know, a huge space. It wasn't anything like a WrestleMania Superstore or anything like that. It was kind of a, you know, small little pop-up shop with a, you know, second story that pretty much just had like the kids stuff and replica titles. So the second story really wasn't much to it. It was mainly one story with the main stuff, I will say. So yeah, you can pretty much walk the entire, like, you can see everything in that store within 5 minutes, I'll say that. If you walked around and just looked at everything, you probably see everything within 5 minutes. So, and that's not me negatively talking about it at all. It was just, I was kind of like surprised how small it was, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, we went there, I got right in, and of course I just started nabbing things right away. And of course, the very first thing I grabbed, I wasn't actually going to grab this, but I was like, you know what, if the back has what I think it is, I'll have to grab it. And of course it did. And the shirt, majority of the haul is shirts, by the way, but this is the first one right here. It is the Grand Slam champ is here, of course, with the Cena title on the bottom with the DC belt. And then, like I said, what sold me on this t-shirt was, of course, the back, which has all his championship victories, of course, all his 17 world championships, all his U.S. titles, tag team titles, and his Intercontinental Championship he won this past November. As soon as I saw the back, I knew I absolutely had to grab it. And honestly, part of me wanted to get this too. I thought it was just going to be exclusive at the store. Since then, they have thrown this on WWE Shop, which isn't a problem. I still would have got the shirt regardless, but I'm a sucker for stat shirts, especially when they have like the titles like this. Like, that was a big reason why I wanted Cena's SummerSlam 2021 shirt so bad, the Mario shirt, because it had all of his world title just like this on the back of it. I want that shirt so bad for that reason. But now I have one that's fully complete with all his titles, and I'm glad to have gotten it. And the second shirt I grabbed, I originally was not going to grab it because I know this was on WWE Shop for sure, but I was like, you know what? If they had something on the back of it, I'll grab it, because I know the one on WWE Shop doesn't have anything in the back, and it did. So that's why I grabbed it. And of course, the shirt I'm talking about is the John Cena versus Gunther shirt. As you can see right there, final, John Cena, Gunther, the greatest of all time versus the Ring General, Saturday night's main event. And on the back of it, as you guys can see right there, it says final. I was there, John Cena, Gunther, Saturday night's main event. So yeah, the back is the reason why I got the shirt there. Like I said, the front design is on WWE Shop, but there's just a blank back on it. But since this had the I was there stuff and everything on the back, that made me had to grab it there. So that was the second shirt that I grabbed. Next item I grabbed from the Superstore was, it's always a must-have when I see these things, it is the event cup itself. And of course, you have the John Cena Last Time Is Now right there in the front. You got the Never Give Up. The side, you got Rise Above Hate. You got the Saturday Night's Main Event logo right there. Hustle, Loyalty, Respect, DC logo, another Saturday Night's Main Event. So, you know, it plays as both an event and, you know, John Cena Cup. So, yeah, as soon as I saw this, I definitely had to grab it. And following that, I got the official program for the event, the official John Cena program. Of course, you see right there, you have the photo from the poster, well, the first poster, because obviously there's two posters for the event, this one and him with the title, where it says GOAT in the background. But as you guys see right there, it says, "Thank you, Cena," commemorative WWE program. And pretty much it's just, you know, just a bunch of different pictures of Cena throughout his career, all his farewell tour dates right there, all the shirts as well. So yeah, just pretty much a really cool commemorative Cena program. They did have the gold program at the store, but it was sold out by the time I got there. But they did, I'm pretty sure I could have gotten it at the show. But to be perfectly honest, the gold program, I think, was just the exact same, but just a different cover. Honestly, I think this cover looks nicer. You know, the gold cover is cool, but I don't know. I think this one's more like it's I don't know. It fits more the event. And even like on the side right here, you know, you can see it says John Cena's final match program. I think the other gold program, it was just, you know, his farewell tour logo and nothing more to it. So, you know, nothing wrong with the gold cover one, but to be perfectly honest, I think this one was the better of the two anyways. And following that, the next item we have is the John Cena Washington, D.C. farewell shirt. As you can see right there, John Cena The Last Time Is Now with the date and everything, Washington, D.C., Rise Above Hate. The sides where you have the, you know, inspirational messages with the, you know, Never Give Up and Hustle, Loyalty, Respect. The back that says, "After this, you can't see me." I forgot what that translates into. I think it says something like, "I gave you my all I gave everything thank you. I forgot exactly what the translation is to that, but yeah, I was able to grab, of course, the John Cena Washington farewell t-shirt. And the rest of these things I actually had to go to a different area of the Superstore where they had it behind a counter. Like, for some reason, they had like a certain section of Cena's merch behind a counter, which I don't understand why they did that when a lot of everything else is just on the floor. But, and it's not like you had to pay right there for it. Like, you just had to ask them for it and they just hand it to you and you just walk around. So why they had these certain things behind a counter and they could just put them on the floor regularly, I don't know. But the first shirt I got from behind the counter, of course, was the event shirt itself. Of course, you got a picture of John Cena, as I was just talking about with the program a few seconds ago. One final time, Saturday night's main event with the date and everything. And of course, on the back, as you can see right there, after this you can't see me, I was there, John Cena, one final time, the last real champion. So yeah, was able to get this. And this, I guess, we consider the second event shirt, because this also is another John Cena event shirt right there. You see right there, Saturday night's main event with the date. You have John Cena, the last real champion, one last time, with a picture of him in his gear. Final as well. And then on the back, you got John, you can't see me, Cena, GOAT, I was there live, with the date and everything. So not I was there live, but I was there. So yeah, this honestly is I like this one a lot more out of the two. It's probably my favorite one, to be perfectly honest. I really like the design and the back on it. So yeah, I definitely had to pick this one up. And these are the last two items I got behind the counter. Of course, I had to get the John Cena cap right here from the event. If I got the shirt, I had to get the cap with all the different, you know, never seen 17, last real champion, the last time is now, with the date and everything. I just absolutely had to get this hat. And then preceding that, I got the wristband set right here, of course. Honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna open this now, because he didn't even wear these at the show. He actually wore his SummerSlam set, because they're the same colors, even though they're reversed. I think the armband was red and the wristbands were white. But I don't even know if I'll open this now, because these aren't even the ones he wore at the show. So they're kind of like, whatever. I know it's the outfit still, but it's like, come on, he didn't wear them. So do these even matter if he didn't wear them? So, you know, I pretty much just got them just to get the complete Cena set. And this next item I actually didn't get the Superstore. I got it at the event, because it was actually sold out at the store by the time, you know, I got there. And it is, of course, the last time is now towel. I just figured I would show it now, just considering I showed everything else. I'm not going to just wait till later on. I'll tell the story behind it later on, but I decided to go ahead and show you guys. Was very happy to get it. I really thought I was not going to be able to get it. I mean, I know all this stuff is on WWE Shop, but, you know, I always like getting the stuff there while I have the chance, instead of just having to rely on ordering it and waiting, you know, down the line to get it. So I was able to get the last time is now towel. And the very last thing I was able to get in the haul, I honestly I didn't like get it, but it was, you know, they offered it at checkout. I said, you know what, why not? Even though I probably won't really use it, you know, for anything else other than storage. It is the John Cena tote bag. As you guys see right there, it's pretty much the exact same. I mean, it's the same as his t-shirt. You got the, you know, front with the last time is now. You have, you know, the sayings and the back right there. So very basic tote bag, but you know what, I just figured, why not? You know, once I could use it for down the line for something, even though you can't take it to any shows, but I could use it for something down the line. So that was my entire haul of stuff I got. It was funny, because after I got everything, even Luke straight up told me, like, dude, you got sick. I'm like, damn right I did. I put up a picture on Twitter of my haul, and that thing blew up, man. Like, I got like hundreds of likes. Like, I just tweeted the last time is now haul. Like, I didn't hashtag nothing, just put that in. That thing blew up. So that was my haul. That was everything I got at the Superstore, and as well as the event. Like I said, I got that towel there. So yeah, after we went to the store and I got everything, we pretty much just went right back to the room, because it was getting late, and we just, you know, kind of decided to call it a night. Even though, like I said, I did not fall asleep until probably 4 o'clock, because the time difference would have been 1 o'clock for me at home, and I just was not tired in the slightest. Even though I thought I would be, considering I had a huge travel day, I was not tired in the slightest. So we went to bed, and then of course we went into Saturday, which we got up pretty early still, and we had a pretty big day planned for Saturday. You know, we definitely want to go out and visit a lot of the locations that DC had to offer, and that's pretty much what we did all morning. You know, the first stop we went to see the Washington Monument, which was just fantastic to see in person, especially seeing it. And then, you know, once you go down towards like the Lincoln Memorial, you can see, you know, that pond of water right there, between them. It looked absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, we went to the monument, we saw the National Mall, that whole area, and then we walked down towards the Lincoln Memorial. Saw the Lincoln Memorial, which is just absolutely stunning to see in person, man. That thing in person is just absolutely mind-blowing. It looks absolutely beautiful, and it was definitely very, very, very cool. And then after we were able to take all that in from the Lincoln Memorial, we made our way to the White House, which was just, surreal to see that in person. Like, to think that the person that runs the country lives there, it's just like, man, it was just very, very surreal experience, especially, seeing all the different buildings, even walking in that area. Just everything was just it looks incredible. I'll just say that it's a sight to behold, and it's just, man, I was just in disbelief and just like in amaze almost the entire time of all these different locations we were seeing. And then we made our way down to Ford's Theater, to see where Lincoln was assassinated. We didn't go in or anything, but we were able to see it and just, kind of just take it in, like, man, this is where Lincoln got assassinated. And then we went to, honestly, my favorite places I think we visited, which were the Supreme Court as well as the U.S. Capitol. I just thought the buildings looked absolutely outstanding, especially the Capitol, man. That place was just like breathtaking to see in person. I was sitting there staring at it, and I honestly just couldn't get enough of just visualizing and just looking at it. So, and it was cool to see the Supreme Court too. Yeah, those two locations were, like I said, probably my favorite ones we visited that day and that whole trip, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, beautiful sights. And then after that, we kind of just roamed around a little bit more. We got some food. We went to Chipotle and got some fantastic Chipotle, man. Chipotle is one of those places to me where I honestly, I don't think I've ever had bad Chipotle. I might have had not the best Chipotle, but I've never had bad Chipotle ever. So Chipotle was fantastic. And then from there on, we went back to the room because we had a couple hours before the show started. And since we had a, early morning doing all the things that we did, we kind of figured, let's take a step back, relax, and kind of just, chill before the show started. And that's exactly what we did. We probably left to go to the show around 6 o'clock because that's when the doors open. So, and where we stayed to the arena, like, we took the subway everywhere, and it was probably like no more than 10-minute, subway ride. So we got to the arena, and I'll say this, as soon as we got there, the line wrapped all the way around the building. We walked the whole thing, and we're thinking, we are fucked. We are not getting in here anytime soon. However, by some miracle, when we did almost a complete circle, when we were coming back, they had the area where the fan fest was. When in reality, it was just where they're doing the panel stuff. They had a big John Cena big shot thing blown up. They had a merch stand. It really wasn't much besides that, but that was the fan fest place they're having. But as soon as we were right there, we noticed there was a line forming to get in right there. And I remember looking at Luke and I said, dude, is that a line? And I remember he was like, I think so. And I'm like, let's go. Like, no questions asked. So we booked it into that line right there, and we were able to get right in. Well, he went in because when we got in the line, it was right next to the merch truck. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to look at the merch truck real quick. You go in, I'll meet you in. And my goal at that time was to find the towel because I didn't have the towel at that time, and it was sold out everywhere. Or sold out at the Superstore, I should say, at the time. I went. And I looked at the truck, didn't have it. However, I did see a Cena signature. I almost got it. I almost bought it, but it was $100. And I was like, you know what? I just didn't want to spend $100 on a signature, to be perfectly honest. So I didn't do it. I almost did, but I didn't do it. But yeah, I didn't get the towel there. So I went in, and then I went to a merch line. And the first one I went to, I looked at and I noticed no towel. I was like, oh, they're probably sold out. Went to a second one, noticed the towel was on the wall. So I stayed in line. Stayed in line all the way until I was about 10 people. And then once I was about 10 people from the front, I realized, looked at the wall, no more towel. I said, okay, they must have sold out. Fuck. So I ran to find another merch line, found another merch line, had a towel on the wall. I was like, all right, let me wait in this one. And thankfully, that merch stand still had one. So it took me 4 different merch stands, or four different places. It was a Superstore sold out. The merch stand outside sold out. The first stand I looked at inside sold out. So 4 different stands I had to look for, or different places I had to look for that towel. But I got it. I was happy I did because I wanted to complete the Cena the gear for DC. So, and I was able to go to meet Luke in our seats. And then we pretty much just sat there and waited for the show to start. We sat there the pre-show stuff, whatever they're airing. Jackie Redmond, her voice was just gone or shot. I don't know what happened to her voice. I remember her voice is cracking a lot at some point and thinking like, man, she needs some water or something. But yeah, got to our seats and we waited for the show to start. Jesse Ventura shocked me outside, by the way. I didn't even know he was about the show, but he was at the panel at the pre-show, and then the stuff where Stephanie McMahon and Joe Tessitore were hosting were literally like the next section over from where we were sitting. So we just looked to our left, and they were just right there on the panel hosting. So yeah, we had great seats. And then, of course, we finally dove into the show itself. Saturday night's main event, which, opened up with people coming in, showing all the legends, celebrities, and everything and whatnot. This whole show just made it seem like it's a huge deal, and really truly felt like something special. And then we go to the opening match, which was champion versus champion, Cody Rhodes taking on Femi, and this was a very hot way to start the show. Femi, man, something about him, he just has presence. As soon as he came out, you just feel his aura, and you can just tell this guy's gonna have a bright future. I really hope they have a huge plan with him and just push him to the moon once they actually bring him up at some point, because he definitely can be a huge player in WWE. But yeah, him and Cody Rhodes was a good match, man. It was pretty damn good. I love the beginning where Cody was trying to feel him out and Oba was just throwing him around. Cody tried to do the gold dust, drop and punch, but when he went for it, Oba just grabbed him and gave him a choke slam. Oba worked on Cody's back, gave him a huge backbreaker. I just thought, Cody was selling great for him. Cody hit the Cody cutter a few times with Oba, which I thought he took greatly. The match spilled to the outside where Oba gave Cody a huge running uppercut onto the announce table. So yeah, there was some real good stuff between Oba and Cody, and I felt like by the time they were really starting to get going, after Oba hit a huge spine buster on Cody, Cody's ear was bleeding as well, and then it started hearing booing and people pointing, and then I see Drew McIntyre running. I'm like, ah, great. And then there comes McIntyre. McIntyre starts beating on Cody and causes a DQ finish. I'm just like, of course, like I expected some kind of DQ finish, but it's just like, man, they go the very lame, predictable route of having McIntyre just run in. It was just, I don't know, it was just lame to me, in my opinion, especially the way he looked, man. So McIntyre comes out, beats on Cody. Oba gets in his face, like, what are you doing? Pushes him, and then I believe, what did he do? Give him a choke slam or something? He did something to Drew, and then Cody did something to Drew. I forgot what move he gave Drew. Oh, he gave him a Cody cutter, and then, Drew retreated. So Drew comes out and then just looks like a bitch. Don't know what the point of that was, and I don't know what the point of continuing Cody and Drew is. If you're not going to give Drew the title, no point of continuing, in my opinion. So whatever. I don't like them doing lame finishes like that just to continue a feud that doesn't need to continue. But yeah, Cody and Oba itself was a good match. It was really starting to pick up towards the end, like I thought, and it was short too. I mean, it was only like 8 or 9 minutes, so it wasn't a very long match at all. But I thought Cody and Oba, what they gave, definitely wanted me to see more from them in the future. So definitely was a damn good way to start the show. Following that with the first of many Thank You Cena video packages, of course, with everyone pretty much doing what they can to pay tribute to Cena. Had one of showing Punk, pretty much talking about what Cena meant to him. And yeah, we got plenty of those throughout the night. And then from that, we go to the next match, which was Bayley taking on Ruca, which was another good match. There's not a bad match on the show at all. Every match I thought was at least good, and this was a good one. Bayley, I thought, was doing a great job of selling for Soul. She was, making Soul look really good, I thought. Didn't like, honestly, the spot where Soul went for the Soul Snatcher and Bayley, be able to avoid it, and she hit the Rose Plant. And then when she pinned Soul, it was very, very clear that, Bayley extended her legs and pretty much threw her legs on it because Soul wasn't moving. You can tell Bayley was pinning her. And by the time the 2 count, she purposely threw herself back more so her feet went into the ropes. I don't know. I just felt like it came off way too much more like Bayley did that purposely, which that's a nitpick on me, 100% nitpick. But I just wish that came off better. But the match itself was good. Yeah, no complaints from me. I thought Ruca looked really good. Like I said, Bayley, I thought did a fantastic job selling to make her look good. And then, Ruca hitting the Soul Snatcher, which was the one thing me and Luke really wanted to see the most in this match, to see that finish live. And that finish did not disappoint live. But Bayley rolls out. Ruca was able to get her back in, and they, trade back some pins until Soul pins her 1, 2, 3 and gets the win over Bayley. So yeah, if I had to figure one NXT talent was going to get the win, it was definitely Soul beating Bayley. And definitely, was what came to tuition. So yeah, good match. Of course, afterwards, they all kind of just shook hands and celebrated and all did the "you can't see me" to pay respect to Cena. So yeah, good solid match. And then we had another Thank You Cena video package, followed by Undertaker talking about Cena, Rock and congratulating Cena. We had a bunch of people out ringside like Sami Zayn, Kurt Angle, RVD, Josh Bernthal was even there of all people. Him and Kurt probably chilling, hanging out for that. Eve, Trish Stratus, a whole bunch of people out ringside. So yeah, whole night of legends showing up for John Cena. And then we had Steph and Joe Tessitore talking about the show, talking about, pretty much them giving their thank you to John Cena. And then following that, we had a celebrity video package, you know, but like Tom Brady, you know, Fluffy, just all these different celebrities, you know, saying thank you to Cena. So, like I said, plenty of these thank you Cena video packages throughout the night. And then we had AJ Styles and Dragon Lee taking on Javon Evans and Leon Slater. I was actually I didn't make a live video on it because I was actually sick at the time and I just didn't feel like making a live video. But fun little fact, I was at the Raw where AJ and Dragon Lee won the tag team titles. So yeah, just thought I'd mention that. No reason to mention it, but I know I usually make a video for every show I go to, and I think that's like the one event I never made a video that I've gone to since I've been making videos talking about shows. But yeah, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee taking on Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Right from the get-go, Javon and Slater taking both of them out by jumping to the outside. This match was non-stop action for the entire way through. And I was very surprised how short this match was. This match was only like 5 or 6 minutes, but it's like an indie car crash, man. It was tons of fun, tons of great stuff. Leon Slater did a really cool, I mean, I don't watch TNA, so this is the first time I've seen Leon Slater, to be perfectly honest. I don't even watch NXT that often, if at all. So Leon Slater transitioning a swanton into a 450 looks so fucking cool to me. I was like, how did he do that? How did he, like, midair go from a swanton and then pull himself through for a 450? That was absolutely awesome. But yeah, it was just, like I said, complete chaos in this match. Ending came with AJ going for a phenomenal forearm, but AJ slipped. And of course, huge debate between people debating whether it was botched or if that was planned. People think it was planned. I think that AJ just slipped, to be perfectly honest. They didn't play up on it. They didn't act up on it. They didn't have an angle going forward. I just think that was AJ slipped, to be perfectly honest. But Leon Slater did a great job selling it and then, you know, trying to recover from it. And then, you know, he went from the top rope. AJ caught him to a power bomb, picked him up. Styles clash, 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee won the match. Like I said, it was very short, but it's a sprint, and it's a very fun sprint. So, yeah, best match of the show to this point. And, of course, afterwards, they all embrace, you know, and, you know, do the salute to John Cena afterwards. So, yeah, very fun match. And following that, we had an interaction ringside of Navy SEAL Master Chief Edward Byers, who just had a long list of accomplishments of serving this country. Nothing but respect for anyone who served, and I was very honored to be in his presence. And following his introduction, we had Stephanie McMahon and George Tessitore at the panel talking about the main event coming up. And as they were talking about that, we see, well, the crowd, we see The Miz coming up and getting in the ring. I'm thinking, great, we're going to have a Miz match. Nothing against Miz. I've always liked Miz. I'm just like, I was ready for Cena's match. So Miz comes out because, you know, right when Joe and Steph are going to say that the main event tonight's going to be awesome. Of course, Miz cuts him off, says awesome instead. Talks about how he should have been on the show, should have been Cena's final opponent. R-Truth comes out and says, you know, since you took the person who was supposed to be in it spot, you know, or supposed to be Sheamus' replacement spot, you're going to face this person now. Gives the ball to the person supposed to be. I'm thinking, oh man, who's it going to be? What surprise is going to be? It's Joe Hendry. I got nothing against Joe Hendry, but I'm just like, he does nothing for me personally. So him being a surprise, I was just like, rolled my eyes out, to be perfectly honest. Did not care at all. Comes out, beats up Miz. R-Truth counts the pin like it was a match. Hendry defeats the Miz, and then they both do the final shuffle, the Miz. And as this is happening, they just put a graphic at the bottom of the attendance. I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, so you did this entire segment just to put the attendance? All right, that sounds reasonable. So yeah, it was harmless, but it just did absolutely nothing for me. And then we had our final Thank You Cena video package, which of course led us into our main event, John Cena's final match. John Cena taking on Gunther. The reason we all came to this show. Man, this match was an experience I don't think I've ever experienced. I will say this, everyone, I'm pretty sure everyone were on their feet for this entire match from start to finish. I don't think there's anybody sitting down. I wasn't sitting down at all. I stood the entire time. Gunther came out with a great heat. Cena came out and just everyone went absolutely nuts. Man, this was an experience. The match itself, incredible match. I absolutely loved Cena versus Gunther. I thought the format was very basic but phenomenal. You know, Cena gave it his all and Gunther was tearing Cena down. Cena hit the final shuffle multiple times. You know, one with the crowd, one with Gunther, and Gunther was just hitting Cena with everything. As soon as Cena went to the ropes, he'd hit him with the kick, German suplex, and then, locked in the choke, but Cena get out of it. And, Cena hit multiple AAs, hit an AA off the second rope, hit an AA through the announce table at the ringside. But back in the ring, Gunther would just tear Cena back down with chops, chops to his arm, to his back. Cena was just red absolutely everywhere. It was just a phenomenal story told from start to finish. And the crowd was just solely behind Cena. Tons of "fuck you, Gunther" chants. Every time Gunther had Cena in a submission, the "don't give up" chants, just Super Cena chants. Man, I can't, I'm getting all riled up thinking about just being there again and experiencing this whole match. It was just an experience, and it was just surreal, and it was awesome. This might be one of my favorite matches, if not my favorite match I've ever attended, just for the experience alone with the crowd and everything. It was incredible, and the match was great. It looked like Cena was closing in on the win a few times, but every time he did, Gunther would cut him off. And there were literally 5 times where I said, this is it. Because Cena would fight out, Gunther would put him back in the choke. And, he'd fall back and look like Cena had nowhere to go. I'm like, that's it. Legitimately, at least 4 or 5 times, I thought the match was over. But Cena would fight out of it. Did the spot where the referee held his hand up and dropped it. Cena at the last minute held it up. Looked like Cena was fighting out of it. Gunther kept hitting those elbows, put him back in the choke. Cena's in the choke, and then you see that smile, and you get the tap out. John Cena submitted to Gunther. And I called that. I said, well, I told Luke this months ago. I remember telling the idea, if it's Cena and Gunther, Cena's got to tap to him. And he was against the idea. Clearly, a lot of people were against the idea because this match, or this finish, has gotten so much backlash from a lot of people. I loved it. I thought it was a great finish. I thought it was exactly how it should have went. I know people don't like it because Cena gave up. Cena went completely against everything he said. I didn't see it that way. I saw Cena smiling and him, tapping out as him letting go. Him saying, you know what? This was everything I gave. I can't have no more. Because this is Cena's entire story is that, you know what? I can't keep up with anybody more. I can't keep up with the modern roster. I'm past my prime. The product is moving past me. And him sitting there smiling was like him saying, you know what? The future's in good hands. You got this. I'm done. I'm out. That's the way I saw it. Whether that's how it was supposed to be 100% or not, it's up for interpretation, I guess. But I personally love Cena tapping out. It's probably mainly because I'm a huge Gunther mark. Gunther, honestly, is my favorite wrestler right now. He replaced Danielson. Since Danielson's been, I guess, officially retired, Gunther pretty much took his slot for me personally. I think Gunther's that fantastic. So I had a huge mark-out reaction to Cena tapping out, and I absolutely, at the end of the day, think it was the right decision. I would have been fine with Cena getting pinned. I don't think Cena should have passed out. I'm sorry. I think the pass-out finish is such a fucking cop-out and just should not be happening. I just think it's an easy way to avoid, actually having someone look somewhat bad. And it's been done so often. You can do a pass-out finish, no problem, but I think it's been done more so as a cop-out than to bring meaning behind it. So, I don't know. I was completely fine with Cena tapping out. I marked out for it. I thought it was a great finish. And, I thought it was the right one as well. Whether you agree with me or not, like I said, it's, up to debate, whatever. It's everyone's preference, I guess. But I thought it was the right decision, in my opinion. So, that's my opinion. Of course, Cena taps out. Gunther walks away. And then, of course, we get the whole John Cena bow, him taking his, wristbands, leaving him in the ring. Well, before that happens, you have the roster coming out, Triple H coming out, the huge fucking boos, man. Those "fuck you, Hunter" chants were deafening. Which, by the way, I will say this. When Cena tapped, absolute silence. It was literally like the streak ending 2.0. It was absolute silence when Cena tapped out. It went from a rowdy crowd to just complete silence, man. Absolutely insane. Going back to the point, Triple H came out, huge "fuck you, Hunter" chants. The huge smile on Triple H's face still gets me. I thought that was hilarious. Then, of course, with the John Cena video package, the thank you Cena video package, Cena watching it. It was really cool to watch it and watch Cena watching it, at the same time. I thought that was really cool. I even took a picture of myself with Cena watching it. But yeah, we got that. Cena getting both titles from Punk and Cody, where they gave him both titles. He held them up one last time before taking his arm and wristbands off, his shoes off. I know it's funny. I know on the broadcast you can hear someone trolling, saying, take the jorts off. I was saying that too. I mean, I wasn't chanting, but I was like in my mind, like, hey, take them off. You're tying the jorts too. Leave them in the ring. Obviously, he didn't do that, but yeah, Cena takes his one last bow in the ring, walks down the ramp, takes one last bow for us as well, and then John Cena walks away, and we no longer can see him. So yeah, that was the conclusion of the show. Just a phenomenal experience being there, man. I'm so grateful they had the opportunity to go to the show and see Cena's last match. And that whole experience, like I said, that main event was just so surreal to see. The crowd was so hot the entire match. Everyone was on their feet. I'm telling you, I don't think anybody was sitting. I stood the entire match. I'm pretty sure everyone else, in the whole building stood up the entire time as well. And it was just a surreal experience. Just the crowd behind Cena. It was just so much fun. And that match was just fantastic. And yeah, that was probably one of my favorite experiences I definitely had for a show and a match. And yeah, after the show, we pretty much just left. We went back to the hotel to call it a night because we were pretty much tired from the whole day. And what really can you do after that? What can you do after Cena? You see Cena's retirement, obviously there's a little bit of depression setting in, so not really much to do in terms of having fun, I guess you can say. And it was getting late, we were tired. And so yeah, we head back to the room, and that was pretty much our Saturday. And then Sunday pretty much was us going back home. We were going to make another last minute stop. We were going to go to the cemetery and museum, but it was just time constraints, and we wanted to do more and didn't want to go there and force ourselves to go through it so quickly. So we just opted out, just not doing it in general. So our Sunday morning was very, very chill. I went to a place next door, which was a coffee shop, which was for 5 coffee roasters. Audrey and I like to try coffee, so I thought I'd go ahead and try that place and see how their coffee was. And it was very good. I got a very basic El Grande Americano, I guess you can say, because honestly, I'm the type of person when I see a very big menu of things I'm not familiar with, I get overwhelmed and not sure what I get. So I just get something very basic, and that's what I got. But yeah, besides that, we pretty much just hung out until we had to go to the airport to catch our flights, because our flights were only 10 minutes apart from departing. And of course, our flights got fucking delayed. My flight leaving DC to St. Louis, because that was my connecting flight, left 30 minutes late. And my flight from St. Louis to home got delayed by 20 minutes. So yeah, nothing but delays, because it did snow that night, Saturday night and Sunday morning, and in Washington. So that was probably the reason for it. But yeah, it was just come on, man, I'm trying to get home, you're delaying me, come on. But yeah, we said our goodbyes, and took off our separate ways. And that was pretty much the trip. That was pretty much my trip to Washington for Saturday night's main event. And it was a hell of a time, man. I had a great, it was very short. It was very in and out. I mean, we only spent one full day in Washington, which was that Saturday. But it was a blast. I would love to go back to Washington. There's definitely tons of more to do there. But for the little small taste that Luke and I got, I thought it was a fantastic time and fantastic experience. I'm very glad I was able to share it with him. I was very glad he was able to come up with this idea and say, hey man, let's go do this together. Let's go hang out and do this. And I'm very forever grateful for him for that. Very much props and thanks to him. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please feel free to like below. Not sure when the next video will be. The next event, I'm planning on going to WrestleMania 42. That's the idea. Whether it happens, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it will, but that probably will be my next video. Then, when I make my review and experience for that trip. So if that is my next one, I'll see you guys then. If not sure when I'll see you guys. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to like below. And of course, till next time, I'll see you guys then. Thank you guys for watching the video. Thank you, John.